Hey guys, today I'm showing off the map that I just made, which is called Metro Circuit. This video did run a little long, so there are links in the top right of the video to skip ahead to either really the aesthetic part or me showing around the city or the race. And the racetrack will be shown first because this is really what the map was designed around being. This is really the first map I made around being a racetrack. And you will see that you do come through multiple parts multiple times. That is done because I felt like it would give a little bit of addition to the value of the course. Not only did it extend the longevity of the map so that the race would last longer, it gives the players the option to, if they're falling behind, to try and hit the other player, which could result in them gaining the lead. This will also be crazy if you're playing with quite a few people, because the more people there are, the more people you have to dodge. And really this map gives me the feeling that I am playing almost Need for Speed. You're drifting through buildings, just working through the town, and it's fun to do. And when creating this map, I did have New York City in mind, so this little outdoor area is kind of supposed to resemble Central Park. But please be aware that this map is not supposed to look like New York City at all, where New York City would just be tons of skyscrapers all around you. This is supposed to be more of just outside the main city while still being a part of the city, so it's smaller buildings and stuff like that. And that was the course. Alright guys, and now I am going to show off the map aesthetically. And I also am going to show off some ideas I had behind creating the map. And before I begin, I must mention that the buildings and stuff are not meant to be to scale. They are meant to be smaller than you would actually see in a big city. And there was really two reasons behind doing this. The first one is obvious. You simply don't have enough money to make a sizable city. It's not going to happen with the budget restrictions you have in Halo. And then the second one is, in the race game type, you race mongooses. Those are really small. I wanted to give you the feeling that you were racing a car through the city. So a way to make the mongoose feel like it was a little bit more was to scale down the city. And I am going to start this by showing off the buildings, and then I am going to go through more of the ideas that I had when I was creating the buildings and the actual map itself. So you start, and you will see to the left a skyscraper, and to the right an office building. There's not really much to the office building. I think the architecture of it came out really well. You have all the windows, and it just looks nice. Obviously you have the main doors and some rocks and grass and stuff going on. And this is the start-finish line, which has an arrow to show you which way to go. So when you come around, you see the skyscraper, which this is the biggest building in the actual playable area that you will see. There's a man named Hubert sitting and waving at you as you come by, and it also tells you the time. There's also main doors with handles and a little doorbell just to let people know you're there. After that, you're come across the parking garage. And now I did make it so that you could only come through one side of it. There's a little spot where you'd get your ticket, and this place used to be littered with vehicles until I realized when you actually play the race game type, you can't see vehicles, they don't spawn, so I decided to get rid of those just to give me a bit more cash. You come up the ramp, and there's not too much to it. It did look much nicer when there's vehicles littered around the place, but what can you do? And then you'll see the church, which is just a very basic architecture that I figured they would have. I kind of didn't go for the original traditional church because I feel like a design like that would not really be in a big city. So I went for a more sleeker look. And there's also like a bench and another garbage pail outside. And you'll see this, which is supposed to be kind of like a convenience store, like a Rite Aid or something like that, where you could get a little bit of groceries, just whatever you want. You have this building, which was really, I just made into the EA headquarters. I don't actually like EA, but yeah, it's just something quick I made. This is a bar. I figured in a big city, most bars are really sleek. It's kind of like the scene of them. I mean, whereas where I live, bars are all run down and they're just trashy. I feel like a bar would have like nothing going to it, very few windows, and it just would have a very sleek design. So that's really the idea behind that. You have a gas station, which has 4 pumps, just kind of drive through. It has the interior, which is very lightly glittered with items, just so that when you were driving by, if you did get a glance, you would be like, wow, there's actually stuff going on in there. And it has a propane tank, just because I felt like that could fit. But other than that, it's pretty basic. You have a restaurant, which the idea behind this was, restaurants that I am around really normally have very large glass sheets kind of in the front, just to let a lot of light in. So that's really the design behind this. It does have a huge rooftop. There was no reason behind that, I just figured it would mix it up. But it does also say food across the top, which could easily be missed. This is just put in to fill up some space. It's probably another thing that could be viewed as just like an office building, something like that. And then this is the emergency room. This is very basic. It's just a cool design. You have the plus on the top, the ER, and then you have the drive-through, which would be where you would come if you have any issues. Alright, and then the next part you will see is the park. And this is very basic. You just have a broadcasting station with a satellite dish. You also have just a small baseball diamond, and then outdoor tables for people to sit at. So, I mean, like mentioned before, it's just supposed to be kind of a different territory for you to drive on, whereas you really were kind of on a flat surface for the longevity of the actual race. And the next part that I'm going to show you, obviously you've seen pretty much all the buildings. The other buildings that weren't shown don't really have a specific purpose. They're just kind of there to fill space. But one thing I really wanted to do with this map was not just enclose it in Colosseum walls. Like, I wanted this to feel like you were a part of a bigger city, something more. So instead of just enclosing you, I continued to create things that gave you like shapes of buildings, like to make you feel like this is more than what you actually see. So buildings go on for the rest of the map. Like, you're not actually, I don't allow you to go very far in the map. Like, you get soft kill zones, but it's really like just to make the city feel like it's something more. Like, it is supposed to feel like a big city. And like mentioned before, you're not in the bigger part of the city. There are much more skyscrapers and stuff like that in the background. But really, I felt like this was probably the coolest part of the map, was this whole concept that could easily be missed and taken for granted. And so that's really the map. There's not too much more to show you. And so if you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you like my voice, please subscribe. And also, if you have any questions, please leave a comment. There is a download link in the description. And you all have a magnificent night.